By compulsion, I'm chomping at the bit. Welcome to my channel, KC. That's me, Carrie Chug, the Sledge Storyteller, here to talk about the wonderful world of storytelling, its many mediums, its history. And if you like this video, please click like. If you like this channel, please click subscribe. And while you're at it, make one more click of the notification button. Thank you. When news broke out from the Hollywood Reporter that negotiations had begun between Amazon MGM and director Travis Knight, the man who many see as the one who single-handedly resurrected the Transformers movie franchise with the Bumblebee movie to helm the next He-Man movie, I couldn't stop myself. And, you know, I'm a huge He-Man fan from back in the day, and the fact that his current rejuvenation has kept my attention, and you know, my mind is going a million miles an hour over the inherent potential in this property, movie-wise. Now I know I'm risking jumping the gun on how far these negotiations will go. I can't help myself, and that's why I'm letting it all out here. And here are 5 expectations I have for this property, what this movie will become, and just one wish. Now, the general understanding of the 1987 movie by Canon is that they initially wanted the whole set to be in Eternia. They just didn't have the budget for it, but you know, outside of the decent model of Castle Grayskull's exterior and a very impressive Grayskull interior, somehow they ended up putting a set in downtown New Jersey, and I can only suppose that they had some huge elaborate Eternian architecture in mind, or maybe some crystalline environment, as often is seen in some of the episodes of the Filmation cartoon, because I easily imagine this working out with a simple outdoor battlefield filmed in Bronson Canyon, often used by such low-budget productions as episodes of the Shazam series and the ultra-cheap Robot Monster. But with the right budget, we can get a nice elaborate production design with beautifully rendered Eternian mountains, perhaps some of those crystalline surfaces I've mentioned before, along with some engaging Eternian flora and fauna. But, you know, let's get Eternia, let's have a nice Eternian battle, make it beautiful. Now, whenever illustrated, He-Man has always been dressed in that X-shaped harness, either gray or brown, with brass armbands and a fur loincloth and boots. I didn't think that the Dolph Lundgren armor and cape looked bad. I just rather it be more simplified and be traditional. The brown harness in the 2002 Cartoon Network cartoon looks a little more practical, and I expect that costume designers keep that loincloth from looking too much like a Speedo. But make it a perfect balance of barbarian and warlord. With Skeletor, I have a hard time imagining the costume design of a classic action figure and both cartoons working in live action. I guess because I haven't truly seen that be tested, and I did like the costume design for Frank Langella in the movie, but I wouldn't be upset or be surprised if that design was used and worked. The movie of 1987, I like the Beastman design there. If they went along those lines, I think it would work. I guess if they have a bigger budget, they'll make it look even better. Man-at-Arms, I think if they went along those lines of 1987, that would work as well. Tila, not that jumpsuit right there. Let's go a little bit more Xena Warrior Princess. Okay, so Prince Adam is ingrained more so into public consciousness than my preferred tribal origin of He-Man, originally depicted in the first mini storybooks that came out around the time the figures came out. So I have to assume that the tradition will continue, and it makes sense that Filmation would be ready to take that angle with experience in using that kind of transformation energy blast from the sky, that sequence from the Shazam series that they also produced. And even more along those lines, I sincerely hope that Adam looks smaller and more feeble than He-Man. One of the big jokes over the Filmation cartoon was how He-Man looked like a carbon copy of Adam, and there was no missing the fact that Adam's voice was just a bit higher pitched than He-Man's voice. But yeah, go by the different look of Adam as seen in the 2002 cartoon. Now, Battle Cat is frequently mentioned as another key missing character in the 1987 movie, and I always have to wonder what they would have in mind as to how would they have made him work. Looking back at 80s movies I've seen with depictions of people riding fantasy and sci-fi based creatures, Empire Strikes Back, the Tauntauns, Clash of the Titans, Pegasus, Never Ending Story, Balcor. All these examples use stop-motion miniatures from a distance and close-ups where you would see the rider and just enough of their steed give something of a feel of what they're riding. Those techniques could have been implemented, but not in the way that you would have said just after watching the movie, "Oh, I loved watching Battle Cat." But when I think on possibilities nowadays, my mind automatically goes to Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is riding that beaked lizard creature. And that was 19 years ago. There have since been all kinds of examples of how much further technology has come since then, so I naturally get excited over the prospect of seeing He-Man on Battle Cat in total awesome action with the same kind of movement thus far seen only in animation when it comes to He-Man. On one caveat, I've never been a fan of this helmet. In the bigger picture, it's not that bad. But I totally love the 2002's design, so please go with that. One other thing conspicuously missing from the 1987 movie is He-Man looking enough like He-Man. Dolph Lundgren, he was jacked enough to look the part, but this He-Man was pretty lacking in performance. With all that was classically depicted with multiple sequences of stock footage back in the day on the Filmation cartoon, I think we all had our favorites. Mine was always that big boulder shot put. It was well established that He-Man was a man of supernatural strength. And by that, established standard, He-Man in doing this would have sent all those enemy troops a good 80 feet off the building in this sequence. He-Man's strength has had its limits, and it's in comparison to Superman, about at his level from the 1940s cartoons, but anything more than that might feel overwhelming, but those are my expectations now. Now I know there are a number of plot ideas that can work splendidly, but this will be a first movie in a franchise which lends itself to potentially be an origin story, and the Cartoon Network cartoon hit the nail on the head on what could work. A younger, not yet King Randor is met with a coup led by Keldor, not yet Skeletor, that plants the seeds for the big power struggle between Order and what would be a tyrannical Order led by a power-hungry Skeletor that would one day lock horns with the mighty warlord He-Man. I'm not saying to follow that cartoon pilot beat for beat, just that the basic premise is a supernal setting for a strong plot. But that's my insight on my He-Man hopes. It can again easily pick up immediate steam or immediately sputter out again. But thank you for watching. Agree, disagree, something I left out, please let me know in the comment section. I'll keep saying it. Let's all look for civility amid all the bad news out there about social and political strife. Let's not hate, and let's find friends wherever we may go, and not assume anybody is an enemy. Everyone be safe, and God bless.